My name is Andrew Van Arsdale, and I'm one of your lawyers representing you in your case against the Boy Scouts of America. As you saw in our update last week, the Third Circuit Court of Appeals has scheduled oral arguments in your case in terms of the General Trust and the Boy Scouts Plan of Reorganization for the first week of November. The actual day of oral arguments is Monday, November 4th. In other good news, I was told this morning that we expect to have the decision from the Third Circuit Court of Appeals by the end of the year. That is good news because the Court of Appeals can often take much longer to issue decisions. The Court of Appeals in other cases, like the Purdue Pharma case, took almost a year to ultimately issue their decision on Purdue Pharma's plan of reorganization. And so if we can get through oral arguments on November 4th, and we can get the decision from the Third Circuit Court of Appeals by the end of the year, that is great news for your case. And why is that great news? Well, I'll tell you why that's great news. It's because, as you know, there's approximately $600 million that has been put into the General Trust that has allowed Trustee Hauser to set up the mechanisms to review your claim and hopefully get you paid money damages for what you suffered as a child. But we know that there's more money there. We know there's another $1.8 billion just sitting on the sideline waiting for the appellate process to be over. And once the appellate process is over, that $1.8 million flows into the General Trust for your benefit and the other claimants in this case. And so that is why we need the Third Circuit to get through oral arguments. That is why we need the Third Circuit to issue their opinion. The last step in the appellate process, assuming the Third Circuit approves the Boy Scouts Plan of Reorganization, assuming the Third Circuit agrees with Judge Silverstein and Judge Andrew from the District Court of Delaware that this plan does pass muster under the law, that the Purdue Pharma case does not actually interfere with the way this plan has been substantially consummated, then the last step of the appeals is to appeal that order to the Supreme Court through what's called a writ. My opinion, and the opinion shared by many folks familiar with this matter, is the Supreme Court will not take a second look at Boy Scouts of America. As one of my updates months ago told you, the likelihood of the Supreme Court of the United States of America taking up a case is very, very slim. I forget the exact numbers, but there was less than a 0.0004% chance or something of all cases that come up in this country. And as a result of that, the fact that the Supreme Court has already kind of ruled on a similar issue as it relates to the Boy Scouts of America, the likelihood that they would take up that similar issue again in a case just a year later, in my opinion, is probably not going to happen. So if we get the decision from the Third Circuit Court of Appeals by the end of this year, and assuming that they approve the plan of reorganization, a writ will be filed by the objecting insurers and some of the other folks that are opposed to the plan. My guess, again, is the Supreme Court likely denies hearing the case, and the appeals are over. And at that point, that $1.8 billion flows in. That could be as early as February or March of next year if we get the Third Circuit opinion by the end of this year. And that is good news for you and the other claimants in this case, because all of a sudden there's a lot more money to be distributed. Hopefully Trustee Hauser continues to process claims at a much faster rate. Hopefully I can get you an offer of settlement very soon if you have not yet received it. But in order to actually get paid real money damages, a larger percentage of your allowed claim amount than the 1.5% that Trustee Hauser is paying out now, we need that appellate process to be over, and we need that money to flow in. Now, the other question I've been asked a lot about lately is, wait, didn't the trustee say that there could be up to $4 billion included in this trust? And you're right, she did say that. So what do we know? We have $2.45 billion that have been pledged to this trust. We also know that we have another 83 insurance carriers that carried policies for the national organization or for local councils at some point in the past century. And we know those folks have not yet settled their insurance policies with the trust through this bankruptcy. And so it's the trustees' belief that there may be as much as $1.5 billion that can be gained from those insurance carriers that have not yet settled. Now, that money is not sitting on the sidelines like the other $1.8 billion. There's litigation that is ongoing in federal court in Texas about that issue. But once the appeals are over, those insurance carriers are going to have to get a lot more serious about figuring out a way out of the problem they have. And it is obviously the trustees' goal to get another $1.5 billion to bring the total trust up to $4 billion. And obviously our goal to get as much money into your pocket as possible under the plan. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Thank you for the patience you have shown in our firm. If we have not yet communicated an offer of settlement to you, we hope to have it very soon from the trust. I know Trustee Hauser is trying to assess claims. I know that their team is trying to push out settlement offers as soon as they can. And I hope in the coming weeks to have an offer for you if you've not yet received it. So have a great weekend, and I look forward to sending you another update next week.